Hey everyone, so I built myself these portable speakers, and my aim wasn't to make the best possible speakers, but to make them, sound well enough, and to make them as loud as possible, and well, rather loud enough, and most importantly to make the battery last as long as possible. So this is what I came up with. They are using the PAM8403 amplifier board, and this TP some number, and remember I'll put it in the video. Module for charging the batteries. So this is how they look. It's pretty simple. It's just 5 volts input with micro USB on-off switch. Back here I have a 3.5mm jack. They don't have Bluetooth because I still prefer the jack. And up here there is volume adjustment. So some general rules when designing small speakers is you want to make the cavity behind the speakers airtight and at least as deep as the speaker diameter. So these speakers, they are maybe like, well, I won't convert to inches, but this is maybe like 7 or 6 centimeters diameter. So at least 6 centimeters should be here. If it's a bit more, it's no problem, or rather it could be even better, but definitely not less, because there would be too much acoustic pressure in the cavity and it would just sound like shit. So these speakers, they, for like average volume, like maybe what you would listen to, and if you were like alone in a room, they take like 100 milliamps. The amplifier, the amplifier board input takes like 100 milliamps. And these batteries are something like, I think, 4 amp hours. So it's 40 hours of reasonably, loud or average volume playback, which is quite a lot. I've been using these speakers with my computer for a few weeks now, and I didn't need to charge them yet. The battery is at 4.2 volts when they were fully charged, and after like 2 weeks now they have 3.8 volts. So the speakers will last very long time. The build material is just pieces of old floor, so you can use just whatever, but some hardwood would be best, obviously. And I just glue everything together with hot glue, because then you don't have to be precise with cutting. I don't really have any tools, rather the right tools. I obviously have just a file or a knife or whatever I find in my drawer. But if you use the hot glue, it will sound just fine. It maybe won't look as good, but it works. So, and it's airtight pretty much, so that's nice. Anyway, I'm going to make quite a simple guide, I would say, for dummies, how to build yourself such speakers. And also, at the end of the video, I will just play something. So this is a simple diagram how to connect the wires for dummies, which I just made using just Paint and Google Images. So we have a lithium battery, it's 1865. Well, it's 18650, but I call it 1865 because it's 18 millimeters diameter and 65 is the length. I don't know why the 0 is there, but just how they are called. Anyway, so just battery input, positive here, negative here, into the board for the charging and for protection. This is TP4056A module. There is also a module without the A, and this one with the A also has discharge protection, so it will cut off the power for the battery, or rather the output, it will cut off at 2.5 volts, and it won't turn it on again until the batteries have, I think, 3 volts. So this one, yeah, you should it's better to get the one with the A. So we have also discharge protection. It has 5 volts in. This is micro USB, or you can for charging, of course, or you can use these pins to solder some wires onto them. Of course, all these pins and inputs you will need to know how to solder and to have a soldering iron, otherwise you wouldn't be able to build anything. So this is the module. One thing to note, the switch here is a must, because even if you turn the volume, the potentiometer, all the way down, the amplifier takes some power. I measured it, I think it was 16 milliamps with a bit less than 4 volts. So yeah, it's still some power, so over time you would discharge the batteries if you didn't have the switch, so this is a must. And yeah, that's about it. It's very simple, just audio jack in, again Google Images, and left and right speakers out. Also, if you are building small speakers, I would always go for 4 ohms, 3 watts, or watts, because yeah, obviously if you have higher resistance or impedance speakers, you will just have less sound with more power draw. So for small speakers, especially battery powered speakers, I would go for the low impedance every time. Yeah, that's about it. Also, one more thing to note with the TP module: if you connect more batteries in parallel, say more than 2, the overcharge protection won't really work properly. Just because you need more current to charge all the batteries connected in parallel, and it fools the overcharge protection, so it will cut off the charging at voltages higher than 4.2 volts, which isn't good. So obviously it's not good. So if you have more batteries in parallel, I either don't, because there really isn't much reason to do so, because the module can only charge with up to 1 amp. So yeah, don't. But if you do, you can just put a smaller resistor with like 1-2 ohms, depending, maybe 5 ohms if you have 5 cells in parallel, to the output, and that will enable you to charge more cells in parallel. But that's not important here. If you have 1 or 2 cells, it will work just fine. You can find these parts all over the internet for really cheap. The amplifier board is like $2 or $3 or euros on eBay. The charging module is like €1. And the other stuff, like the batteries and speakers, I just had these laying around at home, but nothing there is basically, the only cost here is your time investment. Everything else is negligible.